अस्सलाम वालेकुम स्टूडेंट्स। आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है 11th क्लास के लिए दैट इज़ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप। तो हमारा टॉपिक है लोकस ऑफ कंट्रोल। तो ये जो हमारा एंटरप्रेन्योरियल मोटिवेशन जो हमारा चैप्टर चल रहा है, तो इसी को हम कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं। तो यानी कि पहले जो हम क्रिएटिविटी पढ़े थे, तो उसके बाद सेल्फ एफिकेसी पढ़े हैं। तो आज जो हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं दैट इज़ लोकस ऑफ कंट्रोल। ये इंटरप्रेन्योरियल मोटिवेशनल बिहेवियर जो है, ये इसके जो फैक्टर्स हैं, तो उन्हीं को हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। तो आज हमारा जो टॉपिक है दैट इज़ लोकस ऑफ कंट्रोल। तो लोकस ऑफ कंट्रोल को हम जानने की कोशिश करेंगे। तो the concept of locus of control is derived from Rotter's social learning theory. Locus of control refers to a generalized belief about the amount of control people have over what happens to them. In other words, it is one's belief about the contingency relationship between one's actions and outcomes. People who believe that they can control what happens to them, that is, believe that the control resides within themselves, and therefore they are the makers and masters of their fate. Such people are called internals, have what is termed as an internal locus of control. On the contrary, people who believe that what happens to them is due to luck or fate or factors beyond their control. They see themselves as pawns of fate. These are called externals, have what is termed external locus of control. Thus, the concepts of locus of control focus on people's interpretations of what happens to them. That is, if you think you can, you can. If you think you cannot, you cannot. Locus of control concepts have significant entrepreneurial implications. Research on locus of control has provided that entrepreneurs with internal locus of control perform better than their counterparts with external locus of control. A good example of an entrepreneur with internal locus of control is Shahnaz Hussain, world's greatest successful woman entrepreneur. Here is the evidence of her internal locus of control in her own words. I do not believe in destiny. The word fail does not exist in my dictionary. I never fail because I never stop trying. In life, you get what you negotiate. Any woman has the capacity to do what I did. It does not matter what you want. What matters is how badly you want it. Abraham Lincoln is considered as an epitome of achiever with his internal locus of control. His message, based on his life experiences, seems very pertinent to be cited as an excellent example of the internal locus of control when he says, always remember in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. Now, that was locus of control. Now we go for risk taking. Risk can be defined as possibility of failure or loss or other adverse consequences in pursuing some activity or venture. We have already mentioned in chapter first of this book that Risk and entrepreneurship are inseparable from each other. Risk as an attribute affects entrepreneurial behavior. It is, among other things, the element of risk involves in entrepreneurial career. Many people become hesitate to become entrepreneur. Even those who take risk by joining entrepreneurship differ in the degree of risk taking ability and willingness. Depending on the degree of risk, risks can be categorized as high risk, moderate risk, and low risk. All three types of risks influence entrepreneurial behavior differently. Let them discuss high risk first. When an entrepreneur starts a venture without much knowledge about it, there are likely more chances of failure and in turn high risk. In practice, not many entrepreneurs follow this approach. Second one, that is moderate risk. These are the entrepreneurs who do a lot of work and calculations to reduce the chances of failure and thus moderate the risk involved in their ventures. They take calculated risks, say the probability of achieving the desired outcome is 50-60%, 50 to 60%. Most of the entrepreneurs take calculated or moderate risk. The basic difference between an entrepreneur and a gambler lies in this only, that the entrepreneur through his her calculated actions continuously influences the outcome and thus reduces the risk. Entrepreneur controls risk. Low risk. There may be some entrepreneurs who undertake some activity or venture where they would be where they would like to achieve 100% of what is desired. In fact, these entrepreneurs do not take any risk. These are like Fabian entrepreneurs. We can also assess your risk taking behavior by answering the questionnaire. Let we go for how to develop risk taking behavior. Like creative behavior, risk taking behavior is also not inborn. Therefore, it can also be developed. How? We all have an inevitable but different risk bearing orientation based on our background, education, value system, personality, experience, moderate experience, etc. Accordingly, some of us have high risk taking orientation, some others have moderate risk taking, and yet some others have low risk taking orientation. This orientation of our risk taking persists within us unless we try to change it. Both low and high risk orientations have entrepreneurial implications. While the high risk orientation makes the objectives of enterprise unattainable, low level risk does not arouse required challenge for achievement in establishing and running an enterprise. In fact, it is often the moderate level of risk that makes the entrepreneurial venture both attainable and challenging. That is, the two essential ingredients of entrepreneurial success. Hence, there is a need for entrepreneurs to have moderate level of risk taking orientation to succeed in their entrepreneurial venture. The different ways and means like high optimism, tolerance for ambiguity, high need for achievement, passion despite failure, belief about one's internal locus of control, perseverance, etc., can help one appropriate his her risk bearing orientation at a moderate level. Thanks.